Meanwhile, Maldives President Mohamed Miuzzu has stated that the support of a large majority of his citizens for his government was the pledge to withdraw quote-unquote foreign military troops from the country and to recover lost area of Maldivian territory. He has stated that amid Maldives asking India to remove its troops from the island nation by the 10th of March. Now, soon after being sworn as the President of Maldives last year in November, Miuzzu has sought the withdrawal of Indian military personnel from the Maldives. During his inaugural speech, he had stated that discussions with foreign nations are in fact underway through diplomatic channels. Without naming India in particular, he has stated, and I quote, "As agreed in the last negotiations, the military personnel in one of the 3 aviation platforms will be withdrawn before the 10th of March this year, and the military personnel on the remaining 2 platforms will be withdrawn before the 10th of May in 2024. With us on the broadcast is my colleague Brian Thomas. Brian, over to you for more details.
Well, Pia, Maldivian President Mohamed Miuzzu announced that India and the Maldives have formalized an agreement for the repartition of the initial contingent of Indian troops which is stationed in the Maldives before March 10th this year. And President Miuzzu also made this very declaration during his inaugural address at the commencement of the 19th Parliament, underlining ongoing discussions with India regarding the withdrawal of their troops. And in his statement also, President Miuzzu specified that the Indian Army would relocate military personnel from one of the 3 aviation platforms in the Maldives by March 10, 2024. He further stated that the military personnel of the remaining 2 platforms will leave by May 10th, and this move is a very significant step here in aligning with President Miuzzu's commitment to safeguarding the freedom and sovereignty of the very Maldivian people. And he addressed the parliament also. Miuzzu also emphasized the overwhelming support of the Maldivian populace for his government, citing it as a mandate to withdraw foreign troops, reclaims lost proportions of Maldivian seas, and nullify any agreements that could compromise the sovereignty of the Maldives. And additionally, he also announced plans to enhance the capabilities of Maldives military to maintain a 24-hour presence in the exclusive zone, that is EEZ. And during his inaugural session also of the People's Majlis, where President Miuzzu delivered his first presidential address, only 24 members of the parliament from the Maldives attended. The opposition comprised the Maldivian Democratic Party, which is the MDP, and Democrats chose to very much boycott this session and expressed their concerns about the perceived undemocratic practices of the government. A total of 56 MPs, which included 13 from the Democrats and 44 from the MDP, participated in the very boycott. And his party Miuzzu's party basically had centered its campaign on the withdrawal of the Indian troops from the Maldives. And currently approximately 70 Indian troops along with the Dornier 228 Marine Patrol aircraft and the 2 HAL-roof helicopters are stationed in the Maldives, and this formal request for withdrawal was made on the very second day of President Miuzzu's presidency. And an agreement for withdrawal also has been reported in December that happened the previous year. And the latest development that is here is that the second meeting of the high-level core group between Maldives and India occurred in New Delhi last week, and both nations conducted a thorough review of existing bilateral cooperation that focuses on defense, security and economic collaboration and even development partnership. An agreement was definitely reached to hold the third party of the high-level core group in Malé during the last week of Feb.
All right, Brian, I'd like to thank you. But also with us on the broadcast this morning is Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava, International Affairs expert. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us on NewsX. Another statement by the President of Maldives, Miuzzu. Now, he's of course stated without naming India that as agreed in negotiations, military personnel will be withdrawn before the 10th of March 2024 from one of the 3 aviation platforms and from the other 2 by the 10th of May this year. What do you make of his statement as well as the growing tilt of the Maldives towards China?
First of all, a very good morning to you. Good morning to all the viewers. You know, Maldivian President Miuzzu and his political alliance the kind of plank, the kind of posturing they were doing on their domestic circles in the last elections. Obviously, they carried out their campaign on India out, etc., etc. That kind of posturing he is still continuing. And in this address, he is attempting to address his certain faction of his domestic constituency by saying that whatever he was promising, he is now fulfilling. This kind of posturing certainly he is doing at this point of time. But with regard to India-Maldives relationship, I think this relationship is very deep, and India's connect with the people of Maldives, India's connect with the various opposition parties of the Maldives, those who boycotted, is very good. And though Miuzzu is saying that he is carrying out his political promise, India out, etc., etc., without naming it though, but India out is not possible. India out is not going to be happening. And India's influence and India's impact on this Maldivian society and political establishment is such that based on India, they carry out their domestic politics. So that's what it says about the kind of presence India is having. And with this kind of enormous presence which India has, cannot be without away. There cannot be put aside. And India will continue making its influence and having its impact in the Maldivian society as well as in political establishment too in times ahead. If you look at the approach of the opposition parties, whether Democrats or the Maldivian Democratic Party, they are very much against whatever the Miuzzu is doing at this point of time. And with regard to India, Maldives, I think this relationship is historic. India has supported the Maldives in various emergency situations. India has protected Maldivian existence in 1988 when an Operation Cactus was launched. India supported Maldives when they were suffering with the water crisis, COVID pandemic, and medical evacuations, etc., etc. So I think, and various developmental projects, and with this kind of 2 helicopters and Dornier aircraft, we have been doing a lot of medical evacuations from people of Maldives. And the people of Maldives will know the kind of importance India has. India is also the first responder. India is a net security provider. India is the most important country in the Indian Ocean region. So that this kind of a fact cannot be put aside. And obviously this kind of a posturing Miuzzu is doing at this point of time. But as far as the India's approach to us dealing with the Maldives is concerned, we are constructive and we are keeping a close watch on what is happening. But Maldives, Maldivian new president, if he goes ahead and if he crosses limit with regard to doing acts which are obviously not good for India, then he will be doing at his own peril, I must say, because he might face a kind of a political crisis, and he is facing, of course, a political crisis. The opposition parties are very much seriously considering about this impeaching him, and also he will have a political consequences if he goes ahead beyond the point. So I think India will keep a close watch. But with regard to our engagement, we will continue our engagement. If you see our budgetary announcement, we have continued our support to the Maldives. But yes, with regard to China, the last point which you asked, certainly China is a kind of a country which attempts to exploit countries, and they conduct predatory economics. They conduct all sorts of such debt trap diplomacy through which they put the countries into their trap. So I think China's activities and designs are very much visible. I think Maldives must remain alerted. I'm sure that the political establishment, other political parties know about it, and if Miuzzu goes ahead with China the kind of approach Yamin had, then what the fate President Yamin had, the similar fate Miuzzu will meet. So I think Chinese strategy and designs are very much expansionist, and they must Maldivian establishment must be aware about it. But at this point of time, certainly a lot of posturing is being. But Miuzzu, the word of caution is that he must remain alerted. He must not do anything which ultimately causes, great harm to him and also his entire, nation with the kind of approach China shows to such situations. So I think Maldives must remain, a Miuzzu administration must not cross the limit and must not go ahead in such a way towards China that ultimately causes a great harm to them.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.